As we said, the Made in America team is back in action tonight, and David Muir is here to kick off our week of All-Stars. David.
Diane, as you know, this all started with that brave family in Dallas. Remember this? A quick recap tonight, inviting us into their home, thinking at least half of what they own was made in America. We checked the labels, emptied everything not made here, and this is what was left, the vase. Well, thousands of you emailed us, and tonight, your turn, where you sent us the All-Stars keeping jobs here.
They were the first things we noticed when this whole Made in America journey started. The flags in so many front yards across America. And we wondered, where were those flags made? So many of them without label. And just this morning, we opened this video from a viewer in Nebraska. They're bunting, China. But there was one email from Steve in Clearwater, Florida, who told us he knew of U.S. flags made in this country. Perhaps you could highlight Annan, he wrote. And so we did. The factory in Coshocton, Ohio, population 11,000. We knew we were getting closer. The colors were everywhere. Flags on mailboxes, even the silos in the middle of the field, painted red, white, and blue. But this time, there was something different on these flags, the labels.
An American flag made in America.
And on this gray day, we were about to discover an enormous bright spot in this economy, a red, white, and blue one.
Made by Americans, for Americans, to fly by Americans.
In fact, all the way back to the Civil War, World Wars I and II, Iwo Jima, that was their flag. And that moment on the moon?
One small step for man.
Saluting that flag on the moon.
That was ours.
That was yours.
Yes, sir.
Proud of it.
Very proud.
And after 9/11, theirs was the flag raised at Ground Zero. At the time, there was a rush on American flags, and Annan couldn't keep up. They say some major American retailers then turned to China for American flags, but customers weren't buying them. They say one retailer actually sent 10 million of those Chinese American flags to that Ohio factory, unsure what to do with them. So Annan replaced them with flags made in Ohio, adding jobs in a town where so many other jobs have vanished.
Are you Cindy?
Yes,
I'm David. Nice to meet you.
Cindy used to work at the glove factory across town.
They send our gloves overseas.
Where are they made now?
Sri Lanka.
And Cindy isn't the only worker who's been saved here. 120 new hires in just the last 6 months, making 20% more flags than they did just last year.
Talk to any one of these proud flag makers and they'll remind you this is the largest factory making American flags in the world. 50,000 flags a day here, more than 5,500 an hour. And we did the math. That means they're producing 93 American flags a minute.
This is made in China.
So many in Ohio told us they watched Made in America. Our team checking every label, removing anything not made here. All that was left, that vase.
It blew me away. When you showed the vase and the flowers, my wife and I about died when we saw it.
That's why we're here.
That's right. And that's why we're here, to make you that flag that you're looking for.
That's right. We bought some of those flags, all different sizes. They call these the stick flags for Memorial Day, so I brought them in for the family back in Louisville.
Thank you very much. We'll plant it for sure. But I'm looking for the label
That's
here.
right. They don't have labels on the smaller flags, and they say don't be afraid about not being a label, but don't be afraid to ask either at your neighborhood hardware store. Was this from Annan? Is this American?
120 new jobs in 6 months. It's pretty good. Thank you, David.
That tweet that caught my eye.
From Utah today, images of a parade, a kiss, and a flag, all in a tweet sent my way. From this family in Provo, Utah. They tell me suddenly Mom said to Dad, look at the label on our flag. And right there, it says it all, made in China. So we called up the Hackworths.
I mean, it's crazy. I know everything we have is made in China, but even an American flag made in China?
So our Made in America team sprang into action, looking for American solutions, just as we have for more than a year now on World News. And it turns out in Michigan tonight, Carol Klee and her husband Warren already on the case, sewing American flags on their Singer. They say it's hard to keep up with orders, but when they ship them out, they're full of American heart. And from Boston, the viewer who sent me this image from Boston Common, the spectacular sight just a few weeks ago. 300 volunteers, one day, 33,000 flags. She told us late today, every flag made in America. They paid a little more, but she says homegrown for their hometown heroes. And it got us wondering about the friends we met when World News took you to Coshocton, Ohio. Population 11,000. The colors everywhere, flags on mailboxes, even the silos in the middle of the field, painted red, white, and blue. Annan Flag Makers, the oldest in America.
Made by Americans, for Americans, to fly by Americans.
And tonight we learn that sales at Annan are up nearly 20% over last year. So Americans are now looking at those labels, just like that family in Utah today, changing one flag at a time, 3 words at a time. Made in America. Those flags on the 4th, but what happens when suddenly you notice the flag you're holding is made in China? Enter our Persons of the Week. It was the fury over flags on the 4th. Those tweets sent to me from Provo, Utah, a parade, a kiss, and a flag, all sent a year ago tonight. The Hackworth family celebrating the 4th when suddenly mom says to dad, "Did you notice the label on our flag? Made in China." Tonight, a year later, and the new outrage, this time for veterans in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The flags handed out by the local VA Medical Center.
Made in China.
Leon Padilla showing our ABC station there, KOAT, the 3 words that really got under his skin, made in China. And when our team there asked the hospital why not made in America, they said the flags had been donated. They were simply handing them out.
It was in bad taste. I think the veterans deserve better than that.
But those flags are helping China earn a fortune, making our Stars and Stripes $3.6 million a year. But here's the deal. American companies still make far more. You just have to look for the label. We did, companies big and small. In Michigan tonight, Carol Klee and her husband now on vacation after American flags made on their Singer. Our trip to Coshocton, Ohio, population 11,000. The mailboxes, the silos in the middle of the field. Proof we were getting warmer.
American flag made in America.
Annan flag makers, oldest in America.
Made by Americans, for Americans, to fly by Americans.
All the way back to the Civil Wars, World Wars I and II. Iwo Jima, that was their flag. And tonight, Annan telling us sales up 10% just since last year. 15 million American flags from this factory alone.
That's why we're here.
That's right. And that's why we're here, to make you that flag that you're looking for.
And it creates jobs. And listen to this. Annan flag makers tonight telling World News they'll replace those made in China flags given to veterans in Albuquerque. And this evening, so many of you tweeting me your images. From Clovis, California, the Washko family, Brandon, their American flag. And Grant, the Coast Guard Lieutenant Commander, smiling because of his daughter and because of his Made in America flag. And this evening, just like Luke in Brooklyn, we salute the Americans still sewing those stars and stripes for families across America. And so we choose those dedicated American workers still making the American flag.